Hello and welcome to episode 130 of the HamCorp Training Manual. In this episode, we make many unlocks in UIV. The crib buffer, UIV components, UIV energy hatch, Transcendent plasma mixer, and even a whole second space elevator. A lot got done, and the shareholders are measurably less displeased. Now that I have molten spacetime, I've unlocked 3 more things. So, a better coolant for my superconductors. This basically is a replacement for liquid helium in all my superconductor recipes. So that's pretty good. I also now have access to wireless energy hatches and wireless dynamos. This is awesome because these can just pull straight from the wireless network. They are a bit expensive though, as far as energy hatches go anyway. Each one needs an active transformer and a superconducting coil block and an ameliorated superconduct coil, which needs 3 more superconducting coil blocks. Like, this isn't going to break the bank or anything, but it's more than just an energy hatch. Also, it needs an energy hatch. There are also multi-amp versions of these, and these are also craftable, but it takes higher and higher tier coils. So the UHV one, for example, takes compact fusion coils. So the cost can add up. And finally, most importantly for me, crafting input buffers. Oh my god, I am so excited for these. I'm literally gonna make like 100 of these to get started. A scan is a regular crafting input bus, and this takes spacetime, mutated living solder, UEV quad input hatches. Honestly, not that expensive, which feels crazy for me to say. I will definitely be making these basically right now, and I have my proto-halconite steel going. Alrighty, let's quickly discuss what goes into UIV components. The motors need attuned tantalum, transcendent metal, proto-halconite steel, and nether star cables. Also needs molten celestial tungsten, living solder, and dimensionally shifted superfluid. Pistons are more of the same. Pumps are more of the same, but also awakened draconium fluid pipes. And rubber rings. Still using rubber rings, which is a little surprising, but yeah. Conveyors are more of the same. Robot arms are more of the same, but it uses wetware mainframes, bio mainframes, and optical mainframes. Emitters are also more of the same, but now we use Piconium 64B foil, Arceus alloy 2B foil, Laphium compound foil, and Cinnabite A243 foil. All stuff that I've made before. Sensors are basically the same as emitters. Once that's done, I can make the superconductor UIV wire using molten spacetime. I'm not going to do liquid helium anymore. Also transcendent metal fluid pipes. Now here is something a little bit painful. The superconductor base dust. Mixer recipe, UIV. I could also do it in a DTPF, but this recipe needs quite a bit of resplendent catalyst, which is just slightly too expensive for me, at least until I make the TPM, the Transcendent Plasma Mixer. So for now, I'll be doing it this way with the dust. The painful part here is Radox polymer dust. That sucks. Also Rugner dust. Rugner dust comes from macerating Rugner ingots, which comes from fluid solidification, and the molten form comes from fusion, which is fine. It's just, you know? And my god. Blasting these. 252.75 seconds per ingot. Eternal temperature. I don't know if I have that temperature. Let's see. I don't. Which means I need to upgrade the coils on at least one of these. I do have quite a few infinity coils, so I will be able to do that. Cooling the ingots is also tremendously painful at 160 seconds each. But after that, the rest of the process is just more of the same stuff. And finally, for the energy hatch, this is actually pretty straightforward. It's like every other energy hatch, basically. Bunch of coolant cells, some circuits, some coils. Yeah. Oh, yes. I'm so excited for this. So excited, in fact, that I've already swapped out the beautiful awakened draconium coils for these hideous infinity coils. But this brings the heat capacity up to 12,801 Kelvin, which is enough for... What did I need it for? Oh yeah, for the superconductor base. Yeah, this is doable now. And fluid recipe, which is the perfect place to try out my crafting input buffer. It behaves exactly the same as the input bus, except it can handle fluids. So I'm not going to go too in-depth about my setup. It's going to be pretty straightforward. I had a realization about these UIV superconductors, by the way. Do not do it through dust and blasting and vacuum freezing. Look at the time for this, right? 160 seconds for one ingot, and blasting it is another 252 seconds. Yeah, overclocks, whatever. But look at this. Fluid solidification is 1.6 seconds, and making 250 ingots is 94 seconds. This is just better. Now, all that's left is UIV energy hatch, and then I can do some stuff. And also, I've been working on the Transcendent plasma mixer. I have basically everything except for these UEV laser target hatches. One of them is also required for the scan. But once I have those, I can craft this. I've already crafted up all of the blocks required to actually put it together. So all that's left really is these laser hatches. Transcendent plasma mixture doesn't have that many recipes, so I don't need that many program circuits. And a really nice thing about this multi is it slots in to the DTPF very cleanly. So check this out. The TPM has a 5-long row column of dimensional injection casings, and the DTPF has the same thing. So very nice wall share. I can share one whole layer of this. Cool. Hooked up, and it looks so cool. I love it when multis like this can be shared so perfectly. It's really nice. So I have a few crafting input buffers here. Circuit 1, Circuit 2, Circuit 3, Circuit 4. There's also Circuit 5 and Circuit 24, but I'll just make those when I need them. Now, the structure doesn't seem to need an energy hatch because it just takes straight from the wireless network, and I want to test that out. So there is no energy hatch on this, and now I'm going to request a little bit of crude catalyst. Just 10k buckets. Now everything is in here, and yeah, it is crafting. Okay, so you don't need an energy hatch for this, which is weird, but cool, I guess. It's a little concerning because if I run out of power in my wireless network, I could potentially not notice, which is a bit scary. This thing can use as much energy as you want it to use because the number of parallels is configurable. I will just leave it at 1 for now, but eventually I'm going to want to start turning this up. And what this means is I can tear this whole structure down. And all the crude catalyst, or not the crude, sorry, all the unexcited catalyst, I don't really need this stuff anymore. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop producing the unexcited catalyst. So I'll get rid of all these mixers. I can use them elsewhere. And all of my existing unexcited catalysts, I'm going to let it get excited by the laser engravers, and then I will take these down as well. Because the Transcendent plasma mixture basically makes this entire thing completely obsolete. All right, UIV energy hatch now. UIV energy hatch has been completed, which means a few things. Firstly, I need to make more of them so that I can upgrade this thing to be blasting Transcendent metal. Secondly, it means I've unlocked a few more quests. So, the last coils in the game. These would be really nice to have. However, each one needs an eternal singularity. And I am not making 2,112 singularities like this. That's just not happening. So instead, I need to use this recipe. However, this needs a stabilized black hole, which means this recipe can only be done in a pseudo-stable black hole containment field. And this is one of the multis of all time. But we'll come back to that, because that is actually one of the other quests. Besides that, I have access to this quest, Starfuel and Dark Matter. This is made in a multi-block mixer with exotic catalyst, Mark V in the quadfuel, a bunch of neutronium, and a diamond singularity. So honestly, not that bad. And what it's used for is this one DTPF recipe to make dark matter. This also needs a Higgs, which is not consumed, so I need to get this. And dark matter is used to make shards, which I don't know why I would make shards except for the purpose of this quest, because the real value of dark matter is in the blocks, because these are used in this Stargate ring block. So this is, I think, the first item that I have access to that is actually used directly in crafting the Stargate. The end is in sight. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Now, the dark matter quest is a prerequisite for Project Godforge, but honestly, I don't see how. But I'll do the quest anyway. Next up, I've also unlocked the UMV circuits quest. I once said that the optical mainframe was the final circuit in the game. That is not true. However, it's true in a sense. It's the last standardized GregTech circuit. So if you go onto this page, it is indeed the last circuit you can craft. But there are a few more circuits after this, which are custom made for GTNH, I believe. And the first of those is the Pico circuit. This needs optical mainframes to craft, or I guess any UIV circuit, but optical mainframes are the only UIV circuit. It also needs some optical parts, Pico wafers, Pico power ICs, lanthanum, neutronium, transcendent metal, redox polymer. Honestly, nothing too crazy, but it is a 500-second craft at UMV. Oh my god. But these Pico circuits are used in making UIV field generators and also the Dyson Swarm ground unit. This is a method of power generation, which is very good. 337 billion EU per tick. But it's going to be kind of expensive. Like everything else, I guess. I kind of want to focus on eternal coils, which means I need to get the pseudo-stable black hole containment field going. So let's take a look at this. Instead of naming every single block or object that goes into crafting this, I'm only going to name the new things. And of those, there are, I don't think, any, actually. This is all stuff that you've seen before. The scan is an iron singularity. The extreme density space bending casings need a ton of super dense steel, iron, and bedrockium. The background radiation absorbent casings need a ton of UU matter. Hawking radiation realignment focus. This needs molten Rugner and infinity reinforced glass. I know I just said I'm not going to name things that you've seen before, but I'm just listing these things because they are kind of significantly expensive. So I am going to work on crafting this thing up. But of course, first I really need to get Transcendent metal going, and maybe I should make a UIV component assembly line first. So 43 of these is quite pricey because the robot arms need quite a few circuits. It's gonna add up. It's like 1,000 optical mainframes to craft, but it would be nice to have. I don't know where I'm gonna go from here, but I guess we'll see in about 10 seconds. Ooh, actually, there are some issues I need to address, and they will all be solved with another space elevator. I'm running out of Tenggum, which is the main problem, and I thought I could space mine Tenggum, and I can, but it needs a Mark III module. I can make a Mark III module though, so I probably will. That said, there are other materials I haven't fully automated because I just don't have enough modules, so I kind of want to make another space elevator. And I'm excited to see how much faster I can do that now. This isn't going to be some gargantuan undertaking anymore. Alright, update. I did an infrastructure stream, so-called infrastructure stream, where I did a building. So I have a second space elevator. I literally copied this design exactly. And yeah, here it is. So this one is going to be specifically for space elevator pumps. This one is going to be specifically for mining, but it's, for now, also going to share it with the assemblers. And eventually I'm going to make more space elevators for more assembly, because that is pretty slow. I also made 2 new space elevator modules. Mining module Mark III, which is just some UEV parts and some other stuff, and an assembler module Mark II. This needs transcendent metal, hypogen, and some UIV parts. Overall, not too bad. Now, I could also make the Mark II space pumping module, and I probably will, but for some reason this is a UMV quest, but I really don't see why it's a UMV quest. It looks pretty much like everything can be made in UIV, so I don't know, but I will make one of these as well. This needs a lot of computation. I might have to upgrade my quantum computer. Now, the main benefit of these upgraded modules is that it has more parallels, and it has better odds for different asteroids or mining recipes. For the assembler, the main draw is just that it has more parallels, but also it has access to new recipes that require Mark II modules. Some of them are old recipes, but just more efficient, which is nice. So, time to set this up, but first, time to move all of my pumps to the new space elevator. This is a bit of work. Oh, actually, minor roadblock for the component assembly line UIV. I need super dense transcendent metal plates, but this needs a black hole. So I pretty much have to do the black hole before I can do this. And I've already started working on this, and in fact, I think I can do it. It's just a bit of a wait. Just because making these super dense iron plates is a little slow for me, and also bending these iron plates, I have a single bender. Maybe I should turn this into an extrusion recipe so I can use my extruder. But anyway, the extreme density space bending casings are fine. The background radiation absorbent casings are fine. I noticed actually for these, my old recipe used bedrockium dust turned into ingots and then plates. But I realized I can actually make molten bedrockium in the DTPF. And this is much, much faster. 1.1 million molten bedrockium in 21 seconds. That's 8,000 ingots. That's a lot faster than space mining the dust. The controller is probably the most painful part for me, just because it needs a ton of circuits. But honestly, looking at these items, not that bad. Spacetime might be a bit of a wait, so this won't happen this episode. But yeah, honestly, not that bad. So, see you later. Thank you for watching this episode of the HamCorp Training Manual. In the next episode, we will craft and automate the pseudo-stable black hole containment field. This will allow us to craft internal coils as well as the UIV component assembly line. You may be wondering, is this madman seriously going to build the Forge of the Gods by hand? See you next time.